Hey, what's up, everybody? This is Ahjuxue, and welcome to Ahjuxue's NFL Charged Podcast, also known as NFL Charged Podcast. So, today, I will be talking about some of the things that's been going on in the NFL. Now, I know that last week I didn't talk about the big topic, which was, Aaron Rodgers versus Tom Brady. I chose not to talk about it because a lot of people had been talking about it already. But more so, I want to talk about the results rather than, what I'm expecting. And that's what I'll do. So these are going to be the topics that we're going to be covering for the day. It's going to be, obviously, get started off with Rodgers versus Brady, the results of it, my takes on it, and just what I expect from each of the teams. Next, I'll dive right into the Saints versus Rams, which is pretty much was the game of the week. And then I'll get into whose teams are hot right now and who I think that are gonna be playoff contenders. And then lastly, MVP, guys. It's about midway through the season, so MVP starting. And let's get right into it, guys. Okay, so this past week, week 9, we were given an early Christmas game of the season, of the year, whatever you guys want to call it, but I say it's an early Christmas gift because we don't get this a lot when we get two Hall of Fame quarterbacks that go against each other head to head, in Aaron Rodgers and Tom Brady. So the last time they went against each other, it was like 4, maybe 5, maybe 6, maybe 7 years ago. It was a long time ago, because the last time the Patriots and the Packers met each other in the regular season, Matt Flynn was starting. And in that game, Green Bay lost to the Patriots. So, and then the game before that, they played against each other. Aaron Rodgers actually beat Tom Brady. So this one is about the third time that Green Bay and the Patriots are going against each other. And it's the actual second time that Brady and Rodgers are only going against each other. So it ended up with the Patriots winning the game 31-17. The whole entire game, the first half, it was about even. The Patriots were up 17-10, but no team was really like taking away, running away with the game. And both teams were kind of locked neck and neck. One team scores, the other team comes right back on and scores back. If a team got a stop, then the other team typically got the stop back. And so it was a pretty even game until the fourth quarter hit. And once the fourth quarter hit, the Patriots defense went clutch. They were making great stops. They were forcing mistakes, and they forced a fumble that killed all momentum for Green Bay. Then Tom Brady comes out, and the Patriots run a trick flea flicker play, and that set up all their momentum, which they rode to the end, which, as you guys see, the score 31-17, Green Bay lost at Foxborough Stadium to the Patriots. Now, on to the important part. Who is the better quarterback, Brady or Rodgers? So I just want to say real quick, guys, my opinion, I feel and I believe that Aaron Rodgers is the better quarterback in terms of skill set, in terms of prototypical quarterback. He is definitely the better quarterback. He's probably the best quarterback we've ever seen to throw the ball. But if you're talking about quarterbacks in terms of intangibles, in terms of being a leader, in terms of clutchness, in terms of being able to drive a game plan, then you have to go with Brady. He definitely is the more decorated quarterback between the two. He's probably the most decorated quarterback in the history of NFL. You know, like, if you look at it, you know, Joe Montana won 4 Super Bowls. You know, he won alone 4 Super Bowls. You know, Bradshaw, I believe, won about 4 or 5. And Aikman won about 4 or 5. So Brady literally is up there with those guys to have been the only few that won 4 to 5 Super Bowls in their career. And it's very important to that, to prove to like push that point, because you don't just win Super Bowls by being a great player, but by being a great teammate. You know, that's how you win Super Bowl, guys. And Tom Brady has proven that he's one of the best teammates that you can possibly have on the field, because he prepares like nobody else. He prepares nonstop, and the guy literally is crazy about this game. And you know, I never watched that Tom versus Time, but from what I've heard from it, he pretty much just tells you like he's crazy about football, and it's his life. You know, he's married, has kids and everything, but then he doesn't take his kids to school. He doesn't do any of that shit. He's just football. And you have to be as crazy as he is to have the drive to continuously win Super Bowls, to continuously compete. You have to be as crazy as he is about that sport. That's why you have guys like Jordan. You have guys like LeBron. And you have players that are always succeeding every single season. They're always there at the end. They're always being competitive because they are crazy about that sport. And Tom is truly a guy that's super duper crazy about football. Now, don't get me wrong. I'm not taking anything away from Belichick. Okay, I think he's the greatest coach of all time. And one thing Tom Brady benefits dramatically from having Belichick as his coach is he's a defensive-minded coach. So, and he is the ultimate defensive, like, scheming type of guy. He just schemes you based off of what you're doing. He doesn't scheme you based off of who your players are. You know, oh, this guy we think he's this good. No, he just says, okay, this is what they're doing, and we're just gonna do that. We're gonna go against that. They've been running these plays. We're going to make them regret running those plays. We're going to bait them into doing stuff like that. And he is the best at it. There's a reason why that team, they may not have had the best defenses. They may not have had the best offenses every single season that they make it to the Super Bowl, make it deep in the playoffs, win the Super Bowl. They may not have had the best, offense and defense. But one thing they've always had is a tremendous game plan coming into every single game. It is ridiculous. It's almost one of those things where during the regular season, against the good teams, they purposely do bad. Against certain teams, they purposely do bad so that they can see what you're doing, what you like to do. And then when they get to the playoffs, they're like, we know we're going to see you. If we see you, we're going to slam dunk on you. So, Brady got the best. Brady and the Patriots got the best of Rodgers and the Packers. I mean, if you look at it in terms of the game, in terms of how they played, like, you have to understand that, Brady only had 1 touchdown. He had 294 yards. He completed 22 of 35, no picks. Rodgers did better than him, okay? Rodgers completed 24 of 43, 259 yards, and 2 touchdowns, 0 picks. So Rodgers had a touchdown on him. But the thing is that Brady drove the game plan better than Rodgers. Now, don't get me wrong. That defense of the Patriots, they came up big because that fumble that they forced turned everything around. And then they ran the flea flicker. Bill Belichick, like this game, this Patriots and Packers game, you truly have to credit the defense. And I noticed that in the game, after the game, Tom Brady credited them. He credited them big time. He credited them big time. He straight up just said it, and that's true. This game turned out that both quarterbacks they played subpar. Okay, statistic wise, they played subpar. Play by play, they played subpar to what you expect them to play like. But the rest of the guys, they came out big, and especially the Patriots defense. We're talking. Let's look at the second half. 7 points in the second half only. Okay, that's the difference. They made sure that they gave Tom Brady as many opportunities as possible. And when you have a quarterback as good as Tom Brady, every opportunity you get, you're gonna get dividends. So Brady won this one. He is now tied 1-1 on Rodgers. And from what I've heard, the next time they're gonna meet each other is like 4 years from now. So dude, that's late, man. I don't even know if Brady's still gonna be playing at that time. And if he is, who knows? Rodgers still playing. And if they're both playing, who knows if they're even like the same anymore. It's just one of those things. So we might never get to see this again unless they play in the Super Bowl, guys. Chances are we'll probably never get to see this again, and we just have to enjoy the fact that we got to see them play twice, and it's gonna go down that they broke even 1-1. So now I'm gonna be talking about what was the game of the week. I mean, it's like an early Super Bowl, guys. You know, between the Los Angeles Rams and the New Orleans Saints. These two teams are so effing good. It's ridiculous. The Rams were undefeated coming to the Saints Superdome, and the Saints had only lost one game, which was like in week 1, and they've been on a winning streak since. You know, when I saw this game, I actually was predicting that the Saints would win this game. I looked at that and I said the reason why they're going to win this game is because the Rams defense can't stop anybody. I don't know what's going on with the Rams defense, guys. We thought that they were going to be super freaking legit and that they were just going to crush everybody. Their defense is going to crush everybody, but what you're seeing is like that defense, they're good, but because the offense is so like high powered, that defense burns out, and they're not playing that good. Then you pile it up with the defense that's on the field for so much, like you burn out, and I don't know what's going on, guys, but the Saints went monster on the Rams in the first half. I mean, 14 points in the first quarter, 21 points in the second quarter. They cruised on in the third, and then they won it by a touchdown, and I mean they won it by 13 points. I mean, if I'm the Rams, they gotta figure out what's going on with their defense. They really do. If you can't win a Super Bowl like that, that's the truth. You can be as high powered offense as you want. You're not gonna win a Super Bowl. Go ask Peyton Manning and his Colts. They never won a Super Bowl until their defense picked it up. So a defense is super important in the playoffs, and the Rams right now have no defense. They're playing literally the offensive game. Even the Chiefs are playing a more sound defense than the Rams are right now. And the Saints, they just capitalized on every freaking thing that the Rams gave them. I mean, we're talking Drew Brees went 25 of 36 for 346 yards, 4 touchdowns, 0 picks. The dude has 1 interception at this point in the season. We're just looking at statistics, and we're looking past statistics. Drew Brees has 18 touchdowns to 1 interception. That's freaking good, guys. All right, it's nuts, man. It's nuts. He hasn't thrown a pick. He's thrown 1 interception. He's thrown 18 touchdowns. It's not Patrick Mahomes numbers, but dude, he's 18 for 1, and that's efficiency. The thing that I noticed when I was looking at, just their pure statistics, but in terms of like how the game went, the Saints were smart. They showed everybody how a way to deal with the Rams, and that is to put up points as fast as you possibly can. Because when they did that, they took Todd Gurley out of the run game. They took the run game out of the Rams. Todd Gurley averaged a 5.2 yard average. He got a touchdown, but he had 13 carries for 68 yards. Why? Because by the time the second quarter came, they were down like 35 points. And you guys know that when you're down by that much, you can't waste any time running anymore. And Sean Payton, they came into that game wanting to make a point that we don't believe that Jared Goff is good enough as of this point to beat us. And it proved true. Jared Goff made a mighty comeback. He did. But it wasn't enough because the score, they were down there, they lost by 10 points. And they did everything they could, and it just wasn't enough. So, Jared Goff went 28 of 40, 391 yards, 3 touchdowns, and an interception. So right now, Jared Goff, he's definitely trending in the right direction, but he's not there yet. He's not good enough yet to take over the team to a point where Todd Gurley is the second man. Todd Gurley right now for the Rams is still the man, and they're very similar to the Cowboys. They're like a better Cowboys team, right? A power run offense that the running back has to get going. But if you take that away from them, the quarterback right now isn't good enough to win you the games against against the good teams. He's good enough to win you the games against the bad teams and the solid teams, but against the good teams, the teams that you're going to see in the playoffs, the teams that you're going to see in the Super Bowl, he's not good enough yet to beat them. If this is the playoffs, I'm telling you right now, the Saints would do the exact same thing. The Saints would come out aiming to score fast to negate Todd Gurley's production, and by doing that, the Rams will have to play catch up. And you saw it. They busted their butts off, and they still couldn't win. They still lost by 10 points. And this game, it's so pivotal because the Rams lost, and that one loss put them in the number 2 seed. Like, this is such a pivotal, important game. The Saints are now in the 1st seed, and the Rams are in 2nd seed. That's crazy. Like, this game is very important. Was very important, and the Saints made the most out of that importance. And I'm not saying the Rams didn't, but what I am saying is the Rams learned a big lesson in this game, and the lesson was that they need to get that defense jump started because they can't go against the good teams and win. They're gonna end up going, like, think about it, if they made it to the Super Bowl, they won't beat. If they meet like the Chiefs are gonna blow the doors off of them. If they meet the Patriots are gonna blow the doors off of them. That's just the truth. Hell, the Steelers are gonna blow the doors off of them, and they can't do that. That defense needs to figure it out. I need to see the Rams win a game against a good to solid team and keep them on a 21 points or something, 17 points, 14 points, 3 points, 9 points. I mean, if you just look at the games that happened in this week, Oakland 3, Dallas 14, Baltimore 16, Buffalo 9, Cleveland 21, Jets 6, Detroit 9, Washington 14, Denver 17, Seattle 17, Green Bay 17. And you look at the good teams, like Kansas City 37 points, Carolina 42 points, Chicago 41 points, New Orleans on 45, New England 31, and it's just one of those things where, as if I, I'm the Rams, if I'm McVay, and I'm looking at, I say, I gotta sit down and have a talk with Wade and find out like what Wade wants. What does he want to do? What does he see Is there some things that he wants to try out with the defense? Because anything at this point is better than what we got right now. And that's the thing if I'm the Rams. If I'm the Saints, this is such a good win. This is a confidence-boosting win. We just knocked off the undefeated team. We are now the number 1 seed. Drew Brees is kick-ass. And our defense, we played really well, really sound defense for 2 quarters, But, I mean, even if you just look at it entirely, right? Yeah, the Rams scored 35 points. But in each of the quarters, they only allowed the most was 10 points in each quarter. So you have to think about it. It's 35 points, but they didn't allow 35 points in 2 quarters. The Rams allowed 35 points in one half. That's ugly. The Saints allowed 35 points over the spread of 4 quarters. 7 in the first quarter, 10 in the second, 10 in the third, 8 in the fourth quarter. So as long as you have a good enough offense, you're going to win. You saw that. 14 points, 21 points, 10 points in the fourth quarter win. So, I'm not saying that the Saints don't have any blemishes on them. They do. They still allow 35 points overall. But this is a big win for them because you look and say, we are the team in the NFC. We're the team. And we have the guys that can do it. We have the talent. So let's go out there and let's continue to do it. Let's go out there and win another Super Bowl. So, kudos to the Saints. This was a great game. I'm not going to lie to you guys. Truly exciting game. And it went like how I thought it was going to go. I believe that the Saints were going to drop tons of points on the Rams. And the Rams are going to do it too. I believe there's going to be a shootout. And it turns out that, when you're shooting out, man, Drew Brees is the man of shootouts. And Jared Goff is not good enough yet. Now, as I stated earlier about the teams that are surging, so there are teams that I believe right now in the league are surging. They're getting better. They're gaining more confidence. They are improving every week, and they are kind of in a win streak. These teams, I believe, at the end of the season will be in the playoffs because they are trending in the right direction. The 3 teams, okay, the LA Chargers, the Carolina Panthers, and the Atlanta Falcons. I know, guys, you guys thinking, okay, yeah, we could see the Chargers and the Panthers because they have a good record, but the Falcons, I mean, come on, they're in the same division as the Panthers. Look, guys, I think that they can do it if they continue to surge the way they have. Just think about it. They're 4-4 right now. Atlanta's 4-4, and they've been winning recently. And not only have they been winning, they've been looking better overall as a team, even with a depleted depleted DB core. They're looking like they're starting to understand how to to play their game. Not only that, but I'm looking at their schedule, and I mean, they're next week in week 10, they're playing against the Cleveland Browns, which is not going to be a cakewalk because the Cleveland Browns are a gritty team, but they have the talent to beat the Cleveland Browns. Then they go against the Cowboys, which they're hosting the Cowboys. I mean, we just saw the Cowboys have a horrible game against the freaking, Tennessee Titans, who at that point Mariota had 3 touchdowns in the season, and they got beat 28-14. So they go against the Cowboys in week 11. Week 12, they're at Saints, which might give them another loss, but at that point, I think they can win the next 2, which means they'll be 6-4. They lose the game again, they'll be 6-5. Then by week 13, they're going to be hosting the Ravens, and I don't think the Ravens are going to make it to playoffs. I think the Ravens are in a slump, so I think they could win this one out. Week 13 goes 7-5. Week 14, they go against the Packers, and if the Packers continue to be in a mess that they are, like, man, I mean, you're just looking at the numbers. The last, two times that they met, they destroy the Packers. So I can see that happening again. The Packers defense can't stop Julio for some reason. They're allergic to that. Then, so they can win again. In week 15, they're going against the Cardinals. That's an automatic win. Week 16, they're going against the Panthers, which is gonna be competitive. So, by week 17, which they will be competing against the Buccaneers, if they can win majority of these games, there's a chance they can make it to the playoffs, because I don't think the Redskins going to continue to win. I don't think the Bears will. I don't think the Seahawks will be able to make it. I just don't feel that the Packers can. And so I feel like the Falcons can sneak it in. They have the talent on offense, and they're starting to get it together. So I think they can sneak it in, guys. I really do. Next is the Carolina Panthers, in which I believe by the end of the season they will be the number 5th seed or 5. I think that they have the talent. They're standing at 6-2. They've beaten some really good competition, guys. Like they're not just like beating cake boys. They're playing tough competitions and they're winning. And that team is starting to really get it together. They're surging the freaking right direction. They're just like kicking butt. Cam Newton's looking good. That offense is looking much better. The defense is solid as usual. As long as Kuechly's on the field, they're a solid defense. I think that they will secure the 5th seed by the end of the season, and I think that they will make a good run in the playoffs as long as the team stays healthy. As long as the key players in that team stays healthy, they'll make it to the playoffs. They might just make it deep too. So you can't count the Panthers out, and you have to respect their record being 6-2. And I truly believe that they're surging in the right direction, because it's not just that they're winning, but it's also how they're winning. They blew out the Tampa Bay Buccaneers 42-28 this past week. They went against the Ravens and they beat the Ravens 36-21. And we're talking about the Ravens with the number 1 scoring defense, and they just kicked their butts. They dropped 36 on them in a game. And really, it didn't look like it was a competitive game at all. Then you just look at their other games. I mean, remember that 21-point win that they had over the Eagles in 2 quarters. So they're looking like a really good team, and they are definitely surging the right direction. They actually are the team that I believe are the hottest team right now. I feel that the Panthers are the hottest team right now in the NFL. I truly do, because they are beating the good teams. They're destroying the bad teams, but they're winning the way we expect them to. That they're winning the way that you look and say, yes, that is the mark of a good team. When you're good, you win that way. When you're bad, you don't win that way. When you are a wild card type of team, I don't know what to expect, then you win in weird ways. Like a bad team, you struggle, but you win. The good teams, you struggle, but you win. And so you don't really know, like, oh, well, what kind of team are you guys? So, but the Panthers definitely are a big-time surger team. They are definitely trending the right direction, and I think they're gonna make it deep in the playoffs. I think that they can give the top teams, once it gets to the playoffs, I think they can give the top teams a run for their money. Okay, guys, so for the last team that I believe is surging is the Los Angeles Chargers. They have won, I think 5 straight now. They just beat the Seahawks at the Seahawks home, which is a big feat, because I was looking at it and I found out that no AFC team has been able to beat the Seahawks in the Seahawks home since like the beginning of the Legion of Boom. And like, it's been that long, guys, and the Chargers were able to pull it off. They won in a convincing way, 25-17, and they've been surging in the right direction. Their players are playing good ball. Although their kickers are horrible, they're playing above that. They're reducing the amount of dumb moves, dumb little killer mistakes that kill your seasons. They're running a lot more effective, and Phil Rivers is having MVP-like season. And this team is truly like showing that as long as they take care of their part, they will win. They will win, and they've been winning in the way that we expect them to win. They stick to their game plan, and it's been producing for them. So I truly believe that they're trending in the right direction. They're only one game behind the Chiefs. Like, that's, Chiefs are have one loss. Chargers have 2 losses. So they're that close, and it's forcing the Chiefs to continue to have to keep playing good, and to continue to have to keep playing at the top of their game. So the Chargers are definitely, I see them going to make it to the playoffs. I see them being a 5th seed, and I see them playing a really good ball for the rest of the season, especially as long as they have their guys are healthy. I think that they can do it. So they are the 3rd of my final teams that I feel that are trending in the right direction, that are essentially surging. And I believe that these teams will be the teams these teams have a chance to make it to the playoffs and make it deep. All right, the playoff picture, boys. So if we are looking at teams that are in the playoffs, the division winners, right? So the division leaders that are going to be pretty much winning and making to the playoffs. If you look at it, the AFC, you have the Chiefs at the 1st seed, and then the Patriots at the 2nd seed. And in the NFC, you have the Saints, who just beat the Rams. They deserve to be in the 1st seed. Once the Rams go on bye, and if the Saints win again, they definitely will be further in the 1st seed. But right now, they have the tiebreaker. They've beaten the Rams, so they have the tiebreaker. But let's just say, by record-wise, the Rams are in 1st place with 8-1, so they are the 1st seed, and the Rams are 7-1, so they are the 2nd seed. Now, looking at the wild card, you have the Steelers, who are the 3rd seed, the Texans, who are the 4th seed, and then the Chargers are projected to be 5th, and the Bengals are projected to be 6th. In the NFC, you have the Bears being the 3rd seed, the Redskins are the 4th seed, the Panthers are the 5th seed, and then the Vikings are the 6th seed. So obviously the Vikings are below the Bears because they have a tie, and the Bears don't have a tie. They're both 5-3, but then because the Vikings are 5-3-1, that puts them below the Bears. Now, if we're looking, AFC, the guys are in the hunt. You have Dolphins, Titans, Ravens, Jaguars, Colts, Jets, Broncos, Browns, Bills, and Raiders. Obviously, Raiders aren't going to make it. The Bills are not going to make it. The Browns are not going to make it. The Broncos, Jets, I don't believe are going to make it. So it leaves the Colts, Jaguars, Ravens, Titans, and Dolphins that I believe are in the hunt, with the Dolphins having the highest chance because they're the 7th seed at a 5-4. Now, analyzing the AFC, I'm looking at this and I say, if the Chargers continue to win, then they definitely will have the 5th seed locked up. Then the 6th seed will be a battle between the Bengals, the Dolphins, the Titans, and the Ravens. And obviously the Jaguars and the Colts. Of those teams, I think that the team that have the highest chance of making it would be the Ravens, because they're just more well balanced than the remaining of the teams. I think the Dolphins, they will benefit from having a weak division, but they will go against the Patriots again, in which they'll lose. They lack key talent to go against the good teams. So if I see them going against the good teams anytime later in the season, I don't think they're going to win those games, which can potentially cost them. I think the Ravens have the best chance. They're 4-5, and they're not that far behind. Yes, they lost to the Steelers, but they also beat the Steelers. That defense, you can't count them out. So it truly is just based off of if Joe Flacco is game on or game off, for the Ravens. The Titans, it's interesting with the Titans being 4-4. I mean, if you look at it from bird's eye view, you're just like, oh, they're not that good. But then they're a 4-4 record, and they're in the hunt. And it's going to be important to see how Mariota performs for the next games, because he needs to do well if they want to make it to the playoffs. And they already lost to the Chargers, so Chargers have the tiebreaker game essentially on them. And they, are the 8th seed, so they're not that far off from the Bengals. Now, if you look at the NFC side, you have that are in the hunt. You have the Falcons, the Seahawks, the Eagles, the Packers, the Buccaneers, the Cowboys, the Lions, Cardinals, and Giants. And San Fran. Obviously, we know Giants, Niners, Cardinals are not making it to the playoffs. Hell, we can even chalk out the Bucs, the Cowboys, and the Lions just as well. Really, this 6th seed that the teams are fighting for are the Falcons, the Eagles, the Seahawks, and the Packers. Now, I think at the end of the season, the Eagles will win their division. They will be the winners of their division. Redskins will get kicked out of the playoffs. I think the Vikings will win their division. And I think that the Packers will do just enough to beat the Bears to squeeze it into the 6th seed. Now, I did say that the Falcons are surging, but I think the Packers might be able to pull it in over that, and they'll play above the adversity because they have Aaron Rodgers, and they, I think that they'll make it in barely. I think the Falcons will lose key games that's going to cost them the playoff 6th seed spot. I don't think the Seahawks are going to make it because they still have to go against the Rams. And they have shown that, they're competitive, but not having the Legion of Boom and not having a sound offense, it's costing them games. So I think the 6th seed is going to be the spot that the Packers are going to make it. I just can't look at Aaron Rodgers being the quarterback for Green Bay and just be like, oh, I don't trust him anymore. No, I trust him. And I think that he'll be able to get them into being the 6th seed. I think the Panthers will have the 5th seed secured because they're a good team. So kind of like the Chargers. So I think that the 5th seeds are pretty much a lock at this point, based off what's left on those 5th seed schedules. And really everyone's fighting now for the 6th seed spot. So I say, and when I'm looking, I say I got Ravens 6th seed for the AFC, and I got Packers 6th seed for the NFC. So now for the MVP race talk. So guys, we're about midway, a little past midway. We just finished week 9 in the NFL, so we've gotten really good statistics to say who's the MVP and who's not MVP. My current standing for the MVP is number 1, Drew Brees, number 2, Patrick Mahomes, number 3, Todd Gurley, number 4, Cam Newton, and number 5, Tom Brady. So the reason why I pick Drew Brees is for the fact that he has been playing such a great game. I mean, the guy is playing so efficient, and he's playing so well that if you truly just look at his body of work, it's undeniable unto what he's able to do and what he's going to be able to do. He is completing a 76.3% completion, the highest in the league, and he's thrown 18 touchdowns to 1 interception. So that ratio is ridiculous. An 18-to-1 ratio. I mean, the only other quarterback that has that scale type of number is Aaron Rodgers with 15 touchdowns to 1 interception. And, we're not even talking about Aaron Rodgers being in that conversation. Drew Brees has a quarterback rating of 120.6, which is also the league high for quarterback rating. Now, I understand that, Patrick Mahomes has more touchdowns, but I truly believe that if you put Drew Brees with the talent that is in Kansas City, they're undefeated. He would not have lost to Tom Brady. Matter of fact, I believe he would have kicked Tom Brady's butt. I mean, he did it way back then, and I think he would have done it again. And I do believe that right now he would do it again. I think that we underestimate just the talent level that Drew Brees is playing with in comparison to guys like Patrick Mahomes, Jared Goff, Ben Roethlisberger, even Phil Rivers, even Aaron Rodgers. These guys, they have better talent overall on the offensive ball than Drew Brees does. Drew Brees has himself, a running back, and a wide receiver. And that's about it. Mahomes has a tight end, a running back, a wide receiver, and possibly even second wide receiver. Jared Goff, don't get me started with Jared Goff. He's got a running back, he's got a very good, skilled set of wide receivers. They're not the best wide receivers, but their wide receivers are like the Patriots wide receivers, where they're not household names, but they are a very good collection of a set of wide receivers, And the thing is this, guys, that when you have a very good collection of wide receivers, you don't need to have the best wide receiver. You just need to have a good collection of wide receivers to help you out. Because the thing about wide receivers is, if you can catch and you can run routes, the quarterbacks are going to give you the ball. And if the scheme is good, the quarterbacks will give you the ball. So, for me, Drew Brees, if he continues to go like this for the rest of the season, he's going to win the MVP. I mean, the guy's already set 2 records this season. Two records that are pretty much like career records. So it's going to be hard to see, and as long as the Saints keep winning and the Saints keep rolling the way they do, it's going to be hard to see him being unseated at the end of the season. If he, because we've never seen that before from a quarterback to hit a monster ratio like the way he has. And because of that, he deserves that number 1 spot for the current MVP race. Now, for Patrick Mahomes being number 2, I have to put him there because even though he has all that skill, talent around him, he has a very good quarterback statistics to go with it. He has 2,900 yards, averaging 322.3 per game, and with a 29 touchdown to 7 interception ratio. He has a quarterback rating of 116.7. He has the most touchdowns of any quarterbacks, and he has the most yards of any quarterback. I think if you line it up and you say, well, who's the next quarterback in touchdowns? I mean, you're talking Andrew Luck at 23-8. So Patrick Mahomes is although he may not, have the best quarterback rating, that doesn't mean he's not playing his ass off. He, for a year one starter, this is a really ridiculous start. This is a start that's similar to what we expected Deshaun Watson to have last season before he went down. So he's number 2 and very close. I think what holds him back from being number 1 for me is the fact that there's just so much skill talent around him. And I watch those games, and a lot of those games he's throwing check down passes, and his guys make the plays. Like, I'm not gonna take anything away from it, but when you have the ability and the chance to throw 10-yard, 12-yard dump offs, and your guys take it to the house for killer plays because they're just so good, like, that definitely helps out. It makes your statistics look better, but that doesn't necessarily mean that you're playing better than other quarterbacks, because from what I see is that if you're that quarterback that everyone says you are, if you're that elite quarterback, you should be able to make passes that you should be able to make passes that are like 20 plus yards down deep and have it hit right on the ball, right on the money, And I watch a lot of those games, those Chiefs games, and I see 12-yard passes that turn to 30-yard gains because, well, guess what? They're running a drag across the field, and come on, you have Tyreek Hill, hit him with the drag, and he'll take it 20 yards because he's so fast. So you just have to really think about that. He's going to benefit a lot from having such great skill talent around him. Kareem Hunt is a top 5 running back, and there's no denying that. And that definitely, helps him out. But then at the same time, that definitely pulls him back. And it's because we've seen Kareem Hunt do it. This is the second year, and he's kicking butt. So, guys, we have to take Patrick Mahomes' success with a grain of salt in a way, because Kareem Hunt's a top 5 running back in the rushing game, and it allows Patrick Mahomes to excel just as well. Yeah, it can be the other way around too, but typically when you look at a running back who's done it more than once, then you will always say, well, the quarterback is benefiting off of that. It's kind of like the whole Jared Goff, Todd Gurley thing. Jared Goff is playing well too, but we definitely know that Jared Goff is benefiting from having a strong run game like Todd Gurley. And because of that, I can't put him at the number 1 spot, even though they have one of the top records, and even though he has the top quarterback numbers. I feel like he has to have a true game where I look and I say, okay, Tyreek has been shut down. Kareem Hunt has been shut down. Now what are you going to do? I need to see you make those plays that is going to put you over the top. Not, I dump a 10-yard pass, 12-yard pass, because even though he does that a lot, he's thrown 7 interceptions. And like, face it, guys, like in this league today in the NFL, you look at elite quarterbacks, they're not throwing a lot of interceptions. You know, I mean, Drew's got 1, Drew Brees got 1, Rivers got 3. You know, Luck has 8, and Luck is notoriously known for turnovers. Matt Ryan has 3, Roethlisberger has 7, Rodgers has 1. You know, and so you just talk about like Newton has 4. Like, you guys have to understand, like, he's this quarterback age. There's just not going to be a lot of interceptions because there's so many penalties and there's so many referee looks to benefit the offense that the quarterbacks, their numbers are going to be inflated. So if Patrick Mahomes wants to be my MVP, he's going to have to continue to throw touchdowns and not throw interceptions. He has a 66 completion percentage, which has been going up little by little, but compared to Drew Brees at a 76, Drew Brees completes 10% better than Mahomes. So I can't say that Mahomes is playing better, you know, because I think if Drew had the same skills players around him, he'd be undefeated. Now, that's not taken away from what Mahomes has been able to do. So that's why I have him at number 2. And now on to my number 3 guy, Todd Gurley. So running backs typically don't get the love on the MVP list, so it's not surprising that Todd Gurley is not number 1. But the biggest reason for me why Todd Gurley, you know, is number 3 is, and he sank from what I believe was number 1 to number 3 now, is because Todd Gurley was looking like he was going to break records for running backs. And then Todd Gurley slowed down because everybody game planned for him and they slowed him down. He had 11 rushing touchdowns for like 3. He had 11 rushing touchdowns, and now he has 12. He isn't looking as deadly as he did in the previous couple of weeks. Right now, if you're looking about statistics overall, he has 16 touchdowns right now, 12 rushing touchdowns and 4 receiving touchdowns. We're week 9, and we just finished week 9 actually, and we're now in week 10, and I think they might be on a bye week, so which sums it up that he will miss this week. No, they're playing. Yeah. So the Seahawks and the Rams are playing, which he might ball out and get 3 touchdowns. Who knows? But that's really the only way he's going to be able to climb back up the ladder, is if he goes and puts up another 3-touchdown game to boost up his numbers from 16 to 19, or maybe 4 touchdowns and may get 20. And so he has to have a big game here, because if he has another 1-touchdown game, guys, he's gonna sink further down, because chances of him breaking records will continue to go down as long as he gets 1 touchdown per game. It's not going to cut it for him. If a running back wants to win this record, they have to break records. I mean, if they want to win the MVP, they have to break records. I mean, you just look at the previous guys that have won MVPs. LT, Sean Alexander, you know, they broke records to win MVPs. That's what it has to take for a running back. And until Todd Gurley does that, he's never going to win the MVP. He's going to be like number 2, but he won't win it. You know, he'll be like offensive player of the year, but he won't be MVP. So you have to keep that in mind. He has 868 yards with a 4.8 yard average. He's leading the league in rushing yards. and probably in rushing touchdowns. But based off of how he has played in the past couple of games, teams are starting to just say, you know what, forget Jared Goff. We're just going to take him away. And if we take him away, we have a higher chance of beating the Rams. And that's what you've seen is these past couple of games, it's become harder for the Rams offense because they just went and they just went and said straight up, we're gonna stop Todd Gurley and we're gonna force Jared Goff to beat us. So that's why Todd Gurley for me is my number 3 guy. Now, the next guy is Cam Newton, which is a surprise, but the reason why I have Cam Newton there is because the Carolina Panthers are in a surge, and it's because of Cam Newton. He is playing really, really good this year. I actually believe he's playing better right now than he did in his MVP season. Cam Newton has 15 touchdowns to 4 interceptions with a completion percentage of 67 with 1,893 yards and a rating of 100.8. But not only that, he's also clocking in about 342 yards rushing and 4 touchdowns. So he has 19 touchdowns right now overall. Cam Newton, what he's showing is that he is taking a team that is containing less talent than the top teams, and he's making them win. And they've been some good teams, they've been some good teams, tough teams, and they've lost as well. So I'm not saying that he's better than these other guys on the list, but what I am saying is that he is trending in the right direction. And as a quarterback, if you are taking your team and you're trending them in the right direction, you deserve to get some nods and some looks. And I think the way they are being on a win streak, he deserves some credit. He deserves some credit and a lot of credit. So he is my number 4 guy on the list, which will now lead to my 5th guy being Tom Brady. Now, Tom Brady's stats may not be pretty. Okay, they're not pretty. They are not Tom Brady-esque numbers, but that doesn't mean that he's doing what it takes to win. He's thrown for 17 touchdowns to 7 interceptions with a 97.7 rating, and that's really not a Tom Brady type of season. But what you're seeing is Tom Brady's having to work with much less talent offensively than he's ever had to in the past couple of seasons, and that definitely is affecting him, along with his age, because Father Time catches up to everybody. I don't care if Tom Brady has discovered pliability. It catches up to you regardless because the body degrades over time. And, with Tom Brady, what makes him in the MVP race is he wins. And he beat Patrick Mahomes, and he wins. He beat Patrick Mahomes. He beat Aaron Rodgers. He will go and beat Roethlisberger. So he's definitely playing not as the same Tom Brady, but he's producing. But he's a part of the train that's producing the same thing. Wins and wins and wins. And really, with the Chiefs, they're really making sure that, okay, we can't drop another game, because if we drop another game, the Patriots get home field advantage. Like, that's how important a second loss is to the Chiefs. And that's how important it is for the Patriots to continue to keep winning. So, Tom Brady wasn't even on the radar, and now he's on the MVP radar. So, you have to keep an eye on him, because he's going to keep climbing up. As long as they keep winning, he's going to keep climbing up. And there's a chance that at the end of the season, he might just win again, and which is going to be crazy if he wins again. So that's my MVP list, guys. And it's going to change by the end of the season. And it's going to be interesting because certain guys are just not going to be there, and certain new guys might jump in based off this how the season goes. All right, guys. So that about wraps it up for this week's podcast. I really hope that you guys enjoyed my topics. I know I didn't go over everything that had happened in this past week, but I went over the topics that I feel like are going to be important for the next upcoming weeks. So I hope that you guys will listen and continue to listen and have new people come and listen. But if you guys liked it, then go ahead and hit the like button. Please subscribe to this channel. I'm going to work hard to make this work. And if you guys enjoyed it, and if you guys have any comments, please let me know. Let me know if you guys want me to do something different. If there's some questions or some topics you guys want me to go over, just let me know, and I'll go over those. All right, peace out, guys.